All right, thank you, everybody. Welcome to July's NSA chapter meeting here in the wonderful NSA Northwest chapter. I wanted to open with just a few announcements, and then we'll turn the time over to our guest for today, David Newman. So excited to have him here. The announcements are, first I'll just say, read the newsletter, but much of what I'm about to say is there, so if I'm speaking a bit too fast, you can catch that information there. I want to put in a plug for Influence 2020, an amazing conference, a collection of professional speakers that have a lot to share, specifically related to what is going on in our industry today. And I have yet to watch a session that I haven't learned a lot from, and I suspect that would be true of everybody in the room. So just another plug for that. And the beautiful thing is, you know, if you're getting in on it a little behind schedule, that's fine, because the recordings are there for you to see that we're already done. And even after the event is over, they'll be available to watch up through September 3rd, I believe. Does that sound accurate, Bill?
That is accurate, for 30 days after Influence ends. And also, so we've been rolling out what would have been the breakout sessions. We've been rolling them out twice a week since May 4th. I'm one of the co-chairs for Influence for the convention, and we actually have a main event planned. So it's not just that program. So August 1st through 3rd is the convention. We've been doing, you know, a whole lot of pre-programming, but you definitely want to be there August 1st through 3rd. It's really cool. I've been seeing some of the stuff that's been rolling in, some of the things we have planned. It's going to be a really good event.
Thank you. Looking forward to it. With good, sometimes it's not so good. Given the situation we're working through right now, I want to remind everyone that we will not have a summer social in the chapter this year. We were thinking to postpone till August and see how things go. And now it's clear that that just wouldn't be a good idea for us. So we're going to follow the governor's recommendation. I understand that he has updated that to groups of no larger than 10, and that would definitely put us out of the running. So we will not be having a summer social this year. And I'm sorry, but nothing planned online or on site in the month of August for our chapter. I want to put in a plug for the survey. The board recently created a survey requesting your input on where you're at, with many thoughts regarding how the chapter can best benefit you, or how you can get the most out of your membership. And the averages for those who've already done it are in 10 minutes or less. Bruce, is that accurate? Am I giving the right? Because we're saying no more than 10 minutes. And
yeah, that's it. Literally, it's coming in under 10 minutes, every response.
All right. So that announcement specific to NSA Northwest membership. So if you're not in the chapter, then you can just disregard that announcement. Are there anything else come to mind that the group needs to have a quick question about or reminder of? All right, I'll give you a second. Fantastic. Let's get into the meat of our meeting. And I want to introduce to you David Newman. David Newman is a certified speaking professional and a member of the National Speakers Association $1 Million Speaker Group. He is the author of the business bestsellers Do It Marketing and Do It Speaking, 77 Instant Action Items to Market, Monetize, and Maximize Your Expertise, which just came out this year, HarperCollins title. He's the host of the Speaking Show, an iTunes Top 50 Marketing Podcast, and the #1 highest rated podcast on the business of speaking. As a speaker himself, David has delivered over 600 paid programs since 1992 and counts 44 of the Fortune 500 among his clients and audiences. David is also the creator of the Speaker Profit Formula mentoring program, which has over 800 successful graduates ranging from brand new speakers to members of the National Speakers Association's Speakers Hall of Fame. David is known as the #1 revenue growth mentor for experts who speak professionally. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome David Newman.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, just got to say, mute your mics and questions we will take at the end. Now go.
Fantastic. I would not believe that introduction if I had not written it myself. So thank you, Aaron. I appreciate it. Isn't it funny when people go, man, I have no idea where you got all that great stuff in the introduction other than I sent it to you. Okay, sure. So we all know how that works. Come on. All right. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Let me get into a little screen sharing mode here, and we will dive right into the goodies. Can everyone see my smiling face and the ever handsome NSA Northwest logo? I've learned to say, describe what's on the screen, because I once did a webinar and we were 40 minutes in and someone said, dude, there's no slides, it's a gray box. So I no longer say, can you see my screen? Because they think my screen is empty. Now I say, can you see my slide that says high fee mastery, take your business online now, my picture on the left, NSA Northwest on the right. We all have that going, it's good? Excellent, thank you. So there's lesson number 1. When you're testing your virtual presentation, do not be stupid like me and say, can you see my screen? Because they have no idea what they're looking for. They think your screen looks like a gray box. That's what they're going to, yeah, I can see your screen. It's a gray box. So lesson number 1 for all you certified virtual presenters, don't make that mistake like I did. All right, well, I wish I could be there with you in person. This, of course, is not your chapter, but it's the Los Angeles chapter, which is my latest chapter selfie. We will be together again. I am very confident. Don't know when, don't know how, don't know where, but I'm looking forward to seeing your smiling faces and shaking your hands at a respectable 3.5, 4 foot distance, depending how long your arm is and how long my arm is. But I just wanted to say that I do so much appreciate the invitation. And I'm looking forward to the time where we can do this old school in 3D with hugs and fist bumps and high fives. Now, you might think, this is a really good group, a good looking group rather, in LA. And they are, Joel Block and Tom Oser and some other people in here. Good looking group, but I'll tell you, not as good looking as this group right here. So I think if you look at this particular group, this is probably the best looking group I will be addressing today. That's my guess. I'm pretty certain of it. So thank you for hanging out here with us at NSA Northwest. First question, I want to make this a little bit interactive here. Obviously, the elephant in the room for the past 4 months, 5 months, has been the global COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic, global crisis. But, some people and some businesses, as a matter of fact, some clients have been affected a little, some have been affected moderately, and some have been affected in a major, devastating, permanent way. I'm curious, based on your business, your topic, the industries that you serve, and your particular business model, which could be anywhere from online to offline. We'll talk about that in a moment. But just jot down in the chat window, and I'll scroll through there in a moment. How have you been affected by the impact of COVID-19? Has it been small, medium, large, supersize? Obviously, no one's been unaffected, but things like canceled and postponed events, your clients being impacted a little bit, medium, a lot, or completely devastated, your level of income, your level of prospecting activity, your level of sales activity, how has that been? How has that changed? How has that evolved, either in a quality or quantity level? And I'm just curious. I'm going to pop open my little chat window here. Yeah, there we go. So a lot of cancellations. Some folks wiped out pretty much. Some folks wiped out some folks postponed. Massive hit. Lots of cancellations. Some people are saying, well, my clients are moving some stuff online. Some people are saying, well, my calendar's been cleared. It's like just everything has been totally taken off. And I'm looking for a new business model. I'm looking for sort of an existential crisis in my thought leadership business. And I don't know who I am and I don't know where to go and I'm not sure what to do. And so whether you're impacted a little or a lot or transitioning trainings online, exactly. I love that, Greg. Aaron says need to revise content to be more relevant. So there's a content shift, right? Being more COVID-19 relevant, more COVID-19, post-COVID-19 even messaging, and all of those things we're going to talk about today. So you are in the right spot doing the right thing. And we will get to most of that, if not all of it, and we'll have plenty of time for questions at the end. So game plan for today is how to survive, pivot, and prevent any further losses to your business, how to help your prospects, because one thing that we cannot forget, must not forget, is, as entrepreneurs, of course, we've been hit, we've been affected, we've been impacted, but companies have been devastated to a 10x to 1000x factor above and beyond what you and I are wrestling with. And our prospects are trying to save their sanity, sometimes trying to save their career, sometimes trying to save their company. They're certainly trying to save their own salary, save the company's top line and bottom line. And so we'll be sensitive to that in how you proceed, how to avoid some sales landmines in this current environment, how to build your online virtual profit centers, next steps to help you make it happen. So if you wanted to implement and pivot and flex your business model and service model and revenue model to a 100% virtual, 100% online, 100% remote business model using the expertise that you already have and solving the problems that you're already brilliant at solving, that's what we're going to dig into. That's what today is all about. Let me share some keys to this new normal. And it's even weird to call it normal because it's anything but normal. It's still weird and upsetting and shaken, stirred, upside down. But the good news is, especially for people who don't necessarily love sales, don't necessarily love marketing, this is the time when relationship building is job one. And you'll never hear me say this, like relationship building is more important than making money right now, because the relationships that you build today will lead to money next week, next month, or next year. Now, it's always been that way, but now it's in a crucible, right? Now it's been magnified, amplified, supercharged, superheated. So this is all about reaching out with an enhanced level. You've always cared, you've always had empathy, you've always been relevant, but now we need to supercharge your level of caring. We need to majorly increase the level of empathy that you express towards your clients and also towards your clients' clients, and we'll talk about that later. And then your relevance. So when people are saying, like Aaron, for example, hey, I'm shifting topics, I'm pivoting, I'm flexing, I'm reimagining, I'm reframing some of the value that I deliver because my clients are in a very different place than they were in January of 2020, and they are, but we just need to roll with the punches and meet them where they are and increase the relevance of what we're doing, what we're saying, and how we're saying it, even change the relevance of what we're doing and how we're doing it. What that means is that your marketing needs to be tuned in 110%. If you and I are marketing the same way that we did in January of 2020, we are totally out of touch, totally out of tune. It's not going to resonate. It's not going to land. I'm going to show you a proven 7-step system for experts of any kind, speakers, consultants, coaches, trainers. It's really an expert-based business model that we're adopting now more so than a speaking-based business model. And then how to flex your delivery modes to, as I said a moment ago, 100% online, 100% remote, and preserve your earning power. And now I'm going to say something really ridiculous, which is maybe even increase your earning power so that you come out the other end of this pandemic with more, better, higher fees than you had coming in. I know it sounds ridiculous. I know it sounds crazy, but that is very, very possible. And I'm going to show you how to do that on today's training. And the best news is that you can get going on this right now. This does not involve throwing out the baby with the bathwater. It does not involve becoming a tech wizard and installing a home studio with like 3 cameras and switchers and all kinds of, all the crazy crap that Bill Stainton has, for example. So you don't need that. You don't need a super high-tech, super, state-of-the-art setup. This can be extremely simple, extremely valuable to your clients, and extremely needed, not wanted and not optional, but really moving you from the nice to have category into the have to have category even now. All right. Now, let's do another quick little survey here in the chat box. I want to just ask you to put yourself on the scale. In person or remote, scale goes 0 to 100. 0% is an unfocused hot mess, meaning that even in the offline world, right? No target market, niche value prop, no real systems, processes, or tools for marketing, sales, lead generation, not a lot of excitement about the sales process, outreach, prospecting, talking to people who might be able to give you money, a lot of guessing, hoping, and winging it. That's 0%. All the way over to 100%, which is on the other end of the spectrum from unfocused hot mess. We call this laser focused ninja. And a laser focused ninja has highly targeted decisions have been made about your topic, your niche, and your value prop. You have a clear step-by-step process and system for implementing what you teach and what you do. You have strong appetite and strong track record with outreach, sales, and staying focused on MMA, which we call money-making activity. And your business can be characterized by a high degree of confidence, clarity, and control. So whether that's in person or remote, right? Because guess what? If it's a hot mess in person, it'll be a hot mess remote. If it's a hot mess remote, it'll be a hot mess in person. So whether your business model currently is in person or remote, give yourself a number, somewhere between 0 and 100. You can even kind of ballpark it, say, well, I'm somewhere in the 30s. I'm, 53, I'm 47, I'm 76, I'm 91, I'm 82, whatever it is. But put yourself on a spectrum there, total honest self-assessment, no judgment. Where do you feel that you are on that spectrum of unfocused hot mess versus laser focused ninja? And we'll see some truth-telling answers here. All right, some in the 30s, some in the 40s, some in the 50s. Elisa, that's interesting, about 75% before. So you feel that changed after COVID, that you used to be 75. And so what's the present number? Lukewarm mess instead of hot mess. Oh, no, you're more than a 2. Come on. You're way more than a 2. No one goes from 75% down to 2. Maybe I'll put you somewhere in the 30s. How about that? I think that's a big enough, that's a dramatic enough drop. And we're going to try and boost everyone by at least 20, 30 points today. So if that sounds good, then again, sit tight. That is coming up in our chapter meeting today. I definitely want to at least give you 20, 30 point boost in what you're doing. So believe me, because if I can do it, you can do it. And a lot of people say that, but in my case, it is absolutely true. If I can do it, you can do it. Because here's how this hot mess started. 2002 to 2005, I had 2 profit centers. I was only doing 2 things. I was doing some speaking and I was doing some training. I had no coaching. I had no consulting. I had nothing online. I had no group programs of any kind. I was just on the gig to gig hamster wheel. 2005 to 2008, started to figure some things out, started to dial some things in. I did speaking and still a little bit of training and quite a bit of one-on-one coaching. Then my calendar filled up, and we'll talk about that in a moment. And I realized, well, that's not really a scalable model, because now I'm doing, filling up my calendar like a game of Tetris, and I don't have time to even, eat a snack or go to the bathroom, which is sad. So in 2009, I started getting into one-to-many scalable live-led group coaching programs. And that was really where I started to pivot. For those of you that were at Influence in 2015, I did a main stage segment called Money Monday, and I talked about the profound impact that these group coaching programs had on my business since 2009, and that was in 2015. And obviously it's been scaled up and magnified and amplified over the last 5 years as well. But that was a real turning point. That's why it's in green. And we'll talk about group coaching and you. That's also part of our agenda today. That's the other reason it's in green. 2012, I started doing webinars for both lead generation and one-to-many sales. 2014, I stopped working with folks one-on-one, and I really committed to group coaching. And I also added high-fee mentoring programs, which we'll talk about today. And then in 2015, I added high-fee masterminds. I don't usually like the word mastermind because it's been misused and abused and bandied about too much. I call them elite access programs. So these are people that have premier access to you and a small cadre of people that you invite to your sort of platinum council, elite access program, executive forum, inner circle, call it what you want. We're going to unpack that business model in today's chapter meeting as well. So this is an actual screenshot of my calendar in 2013. I had 27 one-on-one meetings, which is obviously more than 5 meetings per day. And I realized, you know what I've done here? I have built myself a job. I'm not running a business. I am running a practice. I'm running a lifestyle practice. And when I run out of time, I am out of any additional money-making potential. So if you do the math on this, let's say that we're using bananas, of course, because we're here in NSA, but let's just say you charge 4,500 bananas for 90 days of one-on-one. And I did charge 45 bananas back in 2010, 11, 12. I would have 10 to 12 active clients at any given time, 40 to 50 clients in a year. If you literally whip out a calculator, you will see that my revenue cap is 180 to 225. Now, for some of you, you're looking at that going, oh, Newman, I wish I had that problem. I would love to have $180,000 and be maxed out and be, totally full. And, this is our friend Michael Port, right? Book yourself solid. I would love to be booked solid. You would until it happens. And when it happens, you're like, oh my God, what have I done? So you are now completely trapped. You have no discretionary freedom, etc. You're doing 60-plus-hour weeks, no freedom, no scale, no time off, quite literally no time to go to the bathroom because you've got wall-to-wall calls. There's some creative innovations around that I'm sure some of you have also figured out along with me. Basically, when you stop, the money stops. And that is bad at any level. I don't care what level of income you're shooting for. You might be going from 5 figures to 6 and 6 figures to multi-6. And you might be multi-6 and you want to go to 7. Whatever it is, any cap is a bad cap. You want to have a scalable business where you have leverage, where you can make more revenue and not necessarily put in more hours. Now, here's another question to pop into the chat. At this time, with your business model, with the way that you have your business set up today, if you were to answer this completely honestly, are you in fact selling your time? And based on the math that I just showed you, doing your math, kind of what does fully booked solid look like? What is the very most, if you sold every minute of every hour of every day, if you were 100% up to the eyeballs, completely jammed up, like I was back in 2013. What is that revenue cap just based on some quick back of the envelope math? So are you selling your time? Yes or no answer. Do you have some scalable options? By the way, as you're typing that into the chat, my definition of this is, do you have profit centers that disconnect your revenue generating potential from your time, attention, and presence? I'll repeat that in case you want to think about that, marinate on that. Do you have profit centers or investable opportunities that separate your ability to generate cash, separate that from your personal time, attention, and presence? If yes, then you're not selling your time. If you don't have that, then you are selling your time. Even if it's $10,000 an hour. We can all be making $10,000 an hour, 40 hours a week, and we're making $400,000 a week. Guess what? That's your cap. I'd be okay with that personally, but still, that's your cap. That's your cap. So let's see what people are saying on this one. Yeah, and these are good caps, but this is good. This is good to know, right? Okay, yes, and some people are choosing to answer this privately, and I appreciate that. Thank you. It's well, Newman, I'll share it with you, but I don't want these clowns to know because it's I'm already making $17 million. They'd start borrowing money. It would be awkward. So Bill Stanton, they're not going to start borrowing money from you. You can relax. It's fine. I know they probably already are. I get it. I know what's going on. All right, but this is a very important strategic question, especially now. I mean, now I was on a call, our $1 Million Speakers group. Let me stop sharing real quick. Little interactive portion of the show. Our $1 Million Speakers group has these weekly calls. And, we're venting and we have problems too, by the way, just in case you're wondering, and I'm sure you've all gone through this, it's like, man, once I get $100,000 a year, all my problems go away. And you get there and you're like, I still got problems. No, you know what? Once I get to 200,000, all my problems are going to go away. Nope, still got problems. And it's going to keep going. It's just, by the way, so it never ends. Welcome to the club. Anyway, $1 Million Speakers group. I think it was Randy Gage that said this. I can't guarantee it, but it sounds like a Randyism. He says, this whole Corona thing, what a fantastic time to be in business. And so we're all looking at him going, why, Randy? Why is that? He says, because no matter what it looks like, nobody has any flipping idea what's really going on. Nobody has any idea what's going on. Not even Fauci. Fauci he knows what's going on today. He doesn't know what's happening tomorrow. None of us know what's happening tomorrow. So in a way, it's this Wild West, think of it as being in a big bubble and all the oxygen has been sucked out of the bubble. You can light a match in there. You're not going to burn anything. You can set off some dynamite. No one's going to get hurt. This is a fantastic time for creative destruction. And take what used to work and throw it out the window and experiment and play and look at new distribution modes for your expertise, adopt new business models, talk to your colleagues in NSA, be on crazy webinars like this one. Do not be afraid to blow things up. If it's not working and if it's not serving you, what a fantastic, beautiful, amazing time to blow things up. Everyone is starting at square zero. Nobody has the playbook for this. And no one knows what's going to happen tomorrow or next week or next month or next year. No one knows. So it's a beautiful level playing field. And if you don't stake your claim and you don't start playing, right, how can you possibly win the game if you're not even on the field playing? So play with stuff. I love that word play, right? Play with stuff, play with business models, play with revenue models, blow things up, mix things up. This is the time to do that. Because as my buddy Randy Gage says, no one has any flipping idea what's really going on. So there's no experts in this. There are no experts in this environment that we're all going through together. There you go. So let me go back to my screen. I had to share that one face to face. I had to share that one face to face because it was so important. All right. So that's, of course, the big elephant in the room that we talked about. Thank you, Corona. And here's what that is causing in your client's mind. Client mindset right now is super important. I'm sure you've run into this before, but here's how to decode, here's to unpack what our clients are going through. Just like us, all their old priorities are gone. Whatever they were working on in January 2020, it is now totally shaken, stirred, upside down, and probably on fire. They are rightly freaked out because of this massive level of uncertainty and disruption and confusion. Our executive decision makers, our corporate decision makers, our association decision makers are literally in an existential fight for their lives. Will they lose their jobs? How many more rounds of layoffs will we have to do? Will we lose our customers? Will we lose? How many more members? will we lose? How many more sponsors? How many more advertisers? Will our association, will our company even survive this? So what we have to do, our topics, our expertise, the problems that we solve need to be reframed and reimagined in light of this kind of buyer mindset. So think of a personal downturn, which we've all had, thank you very much, the great equalizer. How would you behave? What do you do when there's some major crisis and some major upheaval in your life? Well, same thing our clients do. Here's what we're all doing. Here's what our clients are doing. Number one, they're going to cut discretionary spending. Number two, they're going to look for every possible way to reduce costs and extend the runway so that they have that survival money. They're going to reduce risk. They never liked risk before, and they really, really don't like risk now. So they are trying to hunker down. They're hiding under their desk. They're trying to survive. Any kind of messaging around, hey, grow your business and be the leader of the future, and all this positive gain messaging is totally tone deaf. Nobody wants to grow. Nobody wants to gain. They want to not lose, and they want to survive. This is a survival value prop. It is not a, hey guys, everyone loves growth. Everyone loves improvement. They just want to live at this point. Follow the herd mentality. Oh my God, Microsoft stopped all meetings until June of 2021. We have to stop all meetings until June of 2021. Oh my gosh, our biggest competitor said that we're pulling out of our association membership. We have to pull out of our association membership. So there's a total follow the herd mentality happening. And we needed to have simple marketing messages before that avoid complexity. Now we have to have super simple marketing messages that avoid complexity. So here is your new marketing language bank for a COVID-19 and post-COVID-19 world. We need to adapt, and you can screenshot this, and I'll also give you a way to get the slides here at the end of this, so you don't technically need to screenshot it unless you want to go sell something right now while I'm talking, which is also acceptable. You can adapt your message with the following verbs and the following nouns. The verbs are extend, preserve, protect, safeguard, survive, restore, reboot, pivot, flex, right? If this is the psychology on the top half of the slide, we need to speak to that psychology using the nouns and the verbs on the bottom of this slide. The nouns are change, turbulence, turmoil, trouble, uncertainty, downturn, crisis, etc. So that when you have a program that says leading, managing through turbulence, selling through turmoil, customer service in times of vast uncertainty, and then your prospect is saying, well, gosh, we're having terrible uncertainty. This is a time of terrible turbulence. We got all kinds of downturn, trouble. Here's your new comeback. You take a nice deep cleansing breath and you say, I know. That's why we're talking. Because that's the new problem that you solve, because this is your new marketing language bank. Now, the number one key to results for you is to take the old mindset, which was nice to have, I'm a speaker, all this kind of stuff. It is now have to have, and you are a professional problem solver. There are no professional speakers on this call, not even ones in the Speaker Hall of Fame. You are professional problem solvers. And we can solve those problems with speaking-based solutions or consulting-based solutions or training-based solutions or coaching-based solutions or online-based solutions. But it's very important to reclaim your identity as a professional problem solver. And you need to be the first one that understands that your expertise is needed now more than ever. Because it is needed now more than ever. Because think of our clients. Do our clients need more sources of panic and bad news, or more sources of tangible, specific results and help? And even though the stores still have toilet paper at this point, they do not need more gloom and doom. The sky is falling. Oh my gosh, what's going on? They need to get ready for the reboot. They need to survive now so they can thrive later. That's the messaging around what we do. That's the messaging around what you do. So they don't need more panic. They don't need more gloom and doom. They don't need more crazy town. They need more help now than ever before. Now, the sad news is this is bad enough for us as far as selling and marketing and getting in front of the right people. It's normally bad enough even without Corona. Let me explain. I'm talking about the nightmare prospects, the ones that stall, the ones that delay. I have to think about it. We really can't afford it. Gosh, that sounds great. Just not for us right now. Maybe we'll do this next year, and we're going off in a different direction. I could be the only sales professional here. And by the way, we're all sales professionals, so I want to reframe that for you as well. I may be the only sales professional here who has ever heard these statements, or maybe not. So type yes into the chat window if you've had that experience where they just blow you off, they stall, they disappear, they ghost you, they give you all kinds of excuses, vague, slippery, squishy, can't decide, can't make a commitment, might be a decision maker, might not be a decision maker, might be posing as a decision maker. Thank goodness it's not just me. Thank goodness. I was getting seriously concerned that maybe I'm like just the world's worst salesperson. Now, here's the other problem with this. Now goes from nightmare prospect to nightmare client. Even when you're hired, they don't see the value. They start to nickel and dime your fee. They start to chip away on various kinds of things. They don't do the work. They don't show up for calls. They don't implement. And then big surprise, when they don't implement, they also don't get results. Help me out here. Type in oi. This is what my people say. Oi, or the full phrase, of course, oy vey. Type oi if you've had that experience where you're already hired, but you're like, why did I ever take this gig? Why did I ever bring on this client? Why did I ever agree to coach this person or take on this consulting project because they're doing all this crazy stuff? They don't see the value. They push back on the fees. They don't implement. They don't show up. Disappearing client syndrome. They don't implement. They delay. They go, well, yeah, we had another internal meeting, and can we do this next week? And everyone's really busy here, and they just totally marginalize you and push you off in a corner. Okay, so thank you again. This is a great therapeutic experience for me, if nothing else. So thank you. Here is why this happens, in case you're curious, like, well, why is this happening? And when it happens, how can I avoid it next time? Here's what's going on. When you charge a relatively low fee, they associate a low value, which means that they give you low respect. There's a low expectation about the results of your work. They put low effort into doing the work, and big shock, they get low results, which for people like you and me is exhausting and depressing. If we switch over to a high fee business model, which is everything that I teach and everything that I believe in, here is where your high fee program is going to be different from the get-go. When they invest relatively, this is relatively, right? By the way, this is another teaching point. All right, we got to do another stop here. This is big. When people say, wow, that's a lot of money. Wow, that's a lot of money is a purely relative statement. Some executives say it when they're talking about $100 million. Some say it when they talk about $10 million. Some say it when they talk about 1 million. Some say it at 100,000. Some say it at 10,000. Some say it at $50. 50. How much is your program? $50. Wow, that's a lot of money. Huh, interesting. No, it's not. But so what does this mean, right? As opposed to, wow, that's less than I thought it would be. And if you do everything that I'm teaching in here the right way, wow, that's less than I thought it would be, can be $100 million. It could be $10 million, could be $1 million, could be 100,000, could be 10,000, right? Wow, that's less than I thought it would be, because the value is here and the respect is here, right? And then when the fee comes in, they're like, oh, whew, I thought it would be 200,000. It's only 100,000. This is great. And especially because it's tied to $1 million outcome. So they don't care what they're putting in. All they care about is, what am I getting out, right? What's the value, the impact, the result, the outcome in financial and non-financial terms? So we have to be totally disengaged from what's a lot of money. What's a lot of money to you might be pocket change to somebody else. You might live in a $200,000 house and your client lives in a $2.5 million house. You might drive a $30,000 car. They drive a $120,000 car. You're making different choices and different decisions, but your barometer has nothing to do with their barometer. Their barometer is based on value to them. And successful selling is 100% based on value to them. It's not based on what we would buy, what we would do. Whenever someone says, oh my gosh, I could never charge that much, I say, that's not really what you mean. What you really mean is, I would never pay that much. And that has nothing to do with the equation. Nothing whatsoever. So what you would pay you has nothing to do with what they will pay you. Just value bomb there. Sit on that for a moment. I'm going to go back to my slides. High fee equals high value in their mind, meaning you're accorded high respect. They come into the program with a high level of expectation. They then exert a high level of effort. They then get high results from their high effort of implementation. And for you, as the expert, speaker, thought leader, that is hugely energizing, exciting, and fun and profitable. This is where you want to play. This is absolutely where you want to play. Copy Green came through our program and she said some nice things there. I'm just going to cut right to the chase here with the highlighted material. You know, great program, blah, 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 focused on helping us get results. How do I know? I jumped into your program, and after the first week, using the tools I developed with your guidance, I locked in a $60,000 plus contract. Now, this is purely about what I was just talking about. And the mantra here is, you cannot serve big if you sell small. Please write that down somewhere. You cannot serve your clients in a big, profound, meaningful way if you're selling one-offs, if you're selling cheap, if you're lowballing your own value and you're giving them the minimum. This is now the time that they need the maximum. And the first sale, here's what I hear so often from my clients and friends. He's like, well, you know, it's the first sale, so I wanted to kind of lowball it. I wanted to start small, wanted to give them a taste, didn't want to get married on the first date. If you go into, so let's talk about married on the first date. I don't want to get married on the first date either, but if I have a major coronary heart attack on the street and I'm taken into the hospital, I would like heart surgery right then and there, my first experience with that hospital. I'm not going to come in and go, hey, by the way, I think I also might have twisted my ankle. Could you do the ankle first and then get to my heart surgery? So you cannot serve big if you sell small. And Copy's story here, one of the reasons I share this with you is that right out of the gate, she was used to selling, you know, gigs, not programs, not processes, not results, not outcomes. But as soon as we said, start selling to solve the problem, not to get the gig, she had a beautiful client conversation. The client conversation was much deeper than a single training day, which she would have ordinarily sold. And she sold a year-long 5K per month agreement for a combination of coaching, consulting, training days, etc. So you can't serve big if you sell small. And that's one of the key lessons of these high fee programs. Now, let me show you a little bit of the math behind the scenes here. This is September of 2015, and this is straight out of my, my CRM and my shopping cart. So we did $57,000 in September, and that was fun. This is implementing the high fee model I'm going to show you here in a moment. October, we did a little bit better. And then November was my sort of existential, blow my socks off, holy smokes, what's happening? Alice just stepped into Wonderland. This was my first six-figure month ever. And it was 100, not by a little bit, it was like a major 6-figure month. You might ask, well, how come Newman has screenshots from November of 2015? I took the screenshots not to put into this slideshow here in 2020, but simply so that I could believe it myself. Because I had entered the twilight zone. I was pinching myself. I was like, what is going on? And this is what went on when I started to commit to only selling high fee programs to high fee clients. So let's break this down. I did actually go screenshot crazy. And my business checking account, like yours, typically it had maybe 5-10K in it. This is my transactional day-to-day checking account, nothing special. For the first time in August of 2015, I had 6 figures in the bank because these sales were stacking up so rapidly. And this was crazy town. I can't emphasize this enough to you. This was crazy town. This seemed insane to me. I would wake up in the morning, I would fire up my online banking, and I would just stare at it and go, is this the dream of some kind? Is this real? What's really going on? So I couldn't believe it myself at first. And just so you see the kinds of transactions that are coming in, these are not low fee transactions. I am not selling courses for $197. I'm not selling, $1,000 little tchotchkes. These are major programs at these price points that I'm going to show you what these programs are and how to create them on today's training. But this is just a straight download out of my shopping cart to show you that these are $12,000 programs, $9,500 programs, $6,000 programs, etc. And these are our various high fee mastery, high fee webinars, speaker profit formula, etc. Now, you might say, okay, well, Newman, that's great in 2015 and 2016 and 2017. Surely you can't be doing this right now in the middle of Corona time. And I just grabbed the screenshot from my shopping cart the last 30 days. And I did this on Wednesday when I was prepping for you guys, $103,000 in that 30-day period. So this is not about, oh, hey, when times are good, this will work. This works in good times. This works in bad times. This works in crazy times. This works right now. Because if you pivot and shift and adapt the business model, the value proposition, and the urgency with which you help your clients, they will buy from you now more than ever. So buying cycles have either stopped where they go, no, we don't need that. We're cutting that. That's not important right now. Or they've accelerated because they're reallocating that budget, which is, again, going back to our friend Randy Gage, it's the Wild West. No one knows anything. Everything is crazy town. Budgets are being reallocated right now like never before. When they see something that they not only need, but something that they want, something that they see as incredibly relevant and incredibly central to one of their strategic initiatives, they will reallocate that money for you so fast, your head will spin. I promise you that. They will reallocate that money for you so fast, your head will spin. So this isn't theory. This isn't, hey, this was great. I made a lot of money back in the, back in January. This is happening right here, right now, every day in my business and businesses like the ones I'm going to show you, because this is real. You are now a professional problem solver. The world has more problems. Here's the mantra: solve bigger problems, get bigger checks. Solve bigger problems, get bigger checks. So question for you, whatever it is you're selling, again, you can replace that number 10K with 5K, 7K, 10K, 20K, 12K, doesn't matter. But I'm curious, what would your life look like? I want you to marinate in this vision just for 15 seconds. What would your life look like if you were earning around 10K, let's call it 5 to 15, per client while working 100% remotely? Meaning that your business was no longer dependent on showing up anywhere live unless you wanted to. And I know you want to, I want to, we all want to. At this point, some of us have to, and you never want to have a business where there's that have to dependency. So type in just what that would feel like. A couple of keywords, short phrases, some emotion words. What would your life look like? What would your life feel like if you were earning 5, 10, 7, 8, 9, 12K per client engagement while working 100% virtual, 100% remote, unless and until you wanted to show up and you felt it was safe and the client felt it was safe and you wanted to do that. So what would your life and business look like if that were the case? All right, fab, fab, fab. And I'm getting a couple privates also, so thank you. Great. Yes, providing more value, and that would prove it. Yes, so it's external validation, right? I'm a huge believer that money is not money for the sake of money. It's a way to keep score of how much you're helping and how much you're impacting. Purposeful, Bill says, better brand of bourbon. Absolutely. Although some of the affordable bourbons are very, very tasty. Less worry and more time to do fun stuff, says Ron. Yes, exactly. Exactly right. So I just somehow, I got this crazy harebrained idea in 2013 that I wanted to really be online much more so than in person. I still show up in person. I still get hired occasionally for events. I go do, programs for consultants and trainers and business book authors and speakers. And obviously I'm here with my NSA friends and family. But in 2013, I wanted to make this shift. I wanted to go 100% online. In 2020, you have to have a virtual and remote online profit center. Doesn't have to be your only profit center or your main profit center, but you need to be able to flex. So when events come back, wonderful. They are going to come back. We don't know when, we don't know exactly how, but they're coming back. When that comes back, I want you to fully participate to whatever extent you feel like it. I never want you to have to show up anywhere live unless you want to. So 2013, that was the business model that I built, and I'm going to show you what the components and the kind of the breakdown of that. In 2020, I think you have to have this hybrid online and offline business model so that you can retreat to 100% online when you want to, when you need to, and then you can add back in the offline as a supplement and a complement to your online, virtual, and remote programs. So the key to this is high fee online programs. One-to-many, 100% remote, 100% scalable. Let's break this down. The power formula, the 3+1 power formula. First part of this is obviously virtual speaking and training. You're probably doing some of that now. Hopefully more and more of your clients are asking you for that and taking you from the offline world into the online world. The second part of this, if you're not doing this, I would highly recommend that you look into some sort of virtual coaching or consulting or mentoring, which I'm going to break down here and how we do it and how that works. Number 3 is the masterminds or the elite access, executive forum, inner circle, platinum council type programs. You can convene groups of executives, you can convene groups of entrepreneurs, you can convene groups of C-level people. They love to connect with each other, and they will love to connect with you in a facilitated, focused group that is 100% focused on getting them some results. And then the fourth thing, this is kind of optional, so it's the first 3 is really the model, and then plus, the +1 is online courses based on your offline content. Online courses based on your offline content. Real quick show of hands so I can see your smiling faces. How many folks already have a finished, completed online course ready for sale? How many finished, completed online course? So Tom, who else? Tom, Carla, is that it? We have 2 online course creators. That's about to change. So whatever we have here, we're about to have 16 and plus the folks watching the recording. So, because here's the cool thing. You can create the guts of the course can be based on the recordings of your live-led online mentoring programs. Secret tip. You don't need to hire, big fancy instructional designer, curriculum developer, big brain consultant. You don't need to do that. You come up with the training and the teaching that you would ordinarily do live in person. You record it on Zoom, you're 80% done. Then it just needs a little polish, little PowerPoints, little collating, curating, sequencing, a little bit of trim the fat, get rid of that, add this in. Oops, I forgot to say that, plug that in. Because remember, there's always 3 speeches, right? That's the cliche. There's the speech that you wanted to give. There's the speech that you gave. And I forgot the third one. The speech you wanted to give, the speech you gave, and what is the third part of that? Does anyone remember the third part of that? There's 3 speeches. Oh, the speech you wish you had given. Thank you, Bill. Exactly right. Right. There's the one that you wanted to give, the one you gave, and the one that you wish, like, oh man, I wish I had said that. So the first 2 is your live-led group mentoring. And then you have the benefit with an online course, add in the things that you wish you had added when it was live-led. Your online course is 90% done. 90% done. It's very, very cool. How are we doing on time, Aaron? Do we have, we're going for another 15 until the break?
Yes, that would sound good.
Okay,
That would work
excellent.
well.
Fantastic. So I will just pace myself accordingly.
Okay.
Let's pop back into the slides. All right, so that's the online course craziness that hopefully you're not going to be too obsessed about, because now I showed you how easy that can be. Barry Rutten came in with a coaching model into our program, $500 a month, doing a fantastic. So his business is working with insurance agents on agency growth and hiring and scaling and getting themselves out of the weeds in their business. He's a former State Farm guy. He's got a lot of State Farm clients. He's got a lot of clients in a lot of other insurance businesses. So used to do coaching, $500 a month. Not liking the model for many reasons. Put on my big boy pants last week and risked getting an easy $500 a month sale to learn how to make a $7,500 flat fee sale. And then if you cut down to the end, he says, got an email today. He's ready to proceed. Maybe this stuff works. Thanks for holding my feet to the fire, Sir Newman. So this shift, right, of you don't need to do the low fee, crazy town, clients don't show up. When Barry was selling coaching for $500 a month, oh, Barry, we're busy. Oh, Barry, we're having the company picnic. Oh, Barry, we can't make it today. As soon as he charged $7,500 for a 90-day high-fee program, his clients, when Barry said jump, they said how high. They never missed a call. They implemented like crazy based on the advice that he gave them, and he completely changed the client results that he was getting, because when they pay more attention. And when they pay more attention, they implement more. So this is just a perfect example of moving this entire operation upscale and adopting this new 3-part, 3+1 business model that, even the low fee stuff can be multiplied, amplified, and magnified by increasing it to a packaged program at a significant fee. Kate Delaney also came through our program even before her program was ready. She says, pre-rollout, I have a full fee mastermind client. I qualified him, sent him what the 8 weeks would look like. He prepaid, freaked that he would miss the window of opportunity. He needs visibility and more confidence in getting media. And of course, that's what Kate does. PR, media training, media exposure. Felt great. Newman's a genius. I generally don't take credit for client success like Newman's a genius, because really Delaney's a genius. The mantra here is go before you're ready. Go before you're ready. Do not wait until every I is dotted, every T is crossed, the program is perfect, it's been vetted, it's been washed, it's been rinsed, it's been repeated. She didn't really even have a program, but she sold the program. She sold actually 4, 5, 6 other people into the first program. She took those checks to the bank, and then she created the program based on the demand. So she says here, pre-rollout, what that means is I'm not even really sure what I sold them, but I sold them a high fee program because she was committed to making that shift in her business. Now here's some danger landmines to avoid. Number one, you start cutting your fee for online and virtual programs. If you do that, this only attracts a huge tribe of tire kickers, non-buyers, and what I lovingly call broke-ass losers or broke-ass clients. What that means is you're building the wrong tribe who will never truly grow your business. My buddy Mark Hunter says that it is really difficult to turn a Walmart shopper into a Nordstrom's customer. And he is 100% correct. Landmine number 2 is no process or system baked into your expertise, meaning that if you don't show people that you have a proven, repeatable, reliable process for thinking about something or doing something or getting a model out there or doing some kind of process that takes them from where they are to where they want to be, they're not going to trust. They're not going to trust you. They're not going to trust that you can really get them results. What that results in the sales process is way too much convincing, persuading, objections, and resistance. I call this the mule pulling the mule, and the mule is getting ornery and angry, and you don't want to pull an angry mule. You want to basically put your hand out with the dog chow and have the dog come to you. I know I'm mixing mules, I'm mixing dogs, it's crazy. All right, so here's the system that we have in our Do It MBA. This is our new program, the Marketing Business Accelerator. Didn't exist in March, by the way, exists now. This is part of our pivot into the new world. I was telling someone else, and this is also, let me also just, by way of encouragement, a little face-to-face. Our business, we're a 7-figure business since 2017, so 2017 and 18 and 19, and up until about February, March, we're also on track for 2020. Our business came to a grinding halt in the middle of March of this year. If I had just been doing and selling what I'd been doing and selling in January, our revenue would be 0. We have literally all the programs that were online, up and running in our core business in March are now gone. They're gone. They're dead. Sorry. From 100,000 plus per month down to 0. 0. Say it a third time, 0. If we hadn't done this massive reinvention, shift, pivot, turned inside out, upside down, run through the rinse cycle 17 times, I would be sitting here not in the MDSG, the $1 Million Speakers Group. I'd be here as a member of the ZDSG, which is the $0 Speakers Group. Much larger group, by the way. But I would be a member. I would be a member. We had to change every flipping thing in this business. So if you're sitting here going, where's my business? Why can't I go back? None of us can go back. I love you. I'd give you all a big virtual hug if we were together. Don't go back. Don't even think about going back. There's no such thing as going back. You know the phrase about, yeah, burn the ships. Burn the ships. We're never going back. And that's a proactive decision that you make at various inflection points in your business. Yes, I'm going to burn the ships. Guess what? All of our ships just got burned. We didn't light the match. We didn't set the fire. They're just gone. There's no ships. So your ships, even if you didn't want to burn the ships, they're burned. They're gone. I'm out of here. So literally, and I say this with huge amounts of love and huge amounts of respect for each of your track records of success. This is the time to reinvent your success. This is really the time to reinvent your success. One of our co-chairs in the $1 Million Speakers Group shared a meme, one of these little images that is one of his kind of go-to mantras that in this current time. It has 2 words: reimagine everything. So Joel Block has reimagine everything is his new mantra. And it is so true. So if you're like, oh, my business has been wiped out and I used to have a good $200,000-$300,000 business. This sucks. Don't worry. I used to have a very nice $1 million business. That was wiped out. And I reinvented, recreated, kind of took my own medicine, ate my own dog food. So I'm with you. I'm really, really with you. If you had a beautiful $10, $15, $20,000 a month business and it went to 0, let's recreate, reimagine, reinvent your beautiful $10, $15, $20,000 a month business. Take a number, add the different number, put some more zeros on it, doesn't matter. Whatever you had, you can recreate, you can increase it, you can boost it even bigger than it was before. That's what I said on that earlier slide, that wouldn't it be crazy if you came out of this global pandemic with more financial success than when you came in. If you do that, and if you follow some of the things that we're talking about today, some of the resources I'm going to share with you, that is completely possible. And it's nice to hear that. It's like, yeah, well, what do you know about that? Just did it. Just did it. So I know a lot about that. It's crazy. It's not always fun, just in case you were curious. But you know that as well as I do. Not necessarily fun. Okay, 7 minutes to go before we take the mega break. So let's talk about this system. You need to have a visual description of your system. So we do marketing, sales, business development for thought leading experts. What does that need? In my world, that's a 7-pillar or a 7-step system. Strategy, packaging, focus, prospects, outreach, sales, and leverage. If you do everything the right way, then you get the end result on the right-hand side column. Meaning if they're all firing on all cylinders, you have success. That's the top row. Now we're going to start playing Jenga, and we're going to pull out one component after the other. And now when I do a webinar on this, this is not for you guys necessarily. I'm showing you how I show my model, right? I say without strategy, you've got tacticitis. Without packaging, you're a commodity. Without focus, you see I'm going down that right-hand side of symptoms. Your process visual does not need to be 7 columns. For some people, it's like 3 interlocking gears. For some people, it might be a 4-quadrant diagram. For some people, it might be a 5-layer triangle. But give someone a visual of what your process or what your end result components look like so they can diagnose. They go, ooh, I want that. And I think we don't have that really dialed in. And that's something that we need. And that's something that we can use. And oh my gosh, we're terrible at that third part, that third gear out of Bill's 3 gears. That gear is not only broken, that gear is missing. No wonder we're not getting the results that we're supposed to get. So think of having some sort of visual model or process model so that engenders trust, that shows people that you know what you're talking about. Landmine number 3, too much push, not enough pull. Spending way too much time talking about you and your stuff. Sorry, Fripp, but yes, your stuff. And you focus on inputs rather than outputs. And this ends up in you chasing clients. This is what I call DPS, disappearing prospect syndrome. DPS is deadly. It's killed more speakers and consultants and experts than any disease, but you do not want disappearing prospect syndrome. Too much chasing instead of attraction marketing where they're actually applying to work with you. And then finally, landmine number 4 is using the same exact messaging that you were using back in January or February of 2020. You come off as tone deaf, not COVID-19 adapted, and to clients, you genuinely seem ignorant, insensitive, completely out of touch. Your services are no longer connected to their immediate urgencies right now. It is a guaranteed recipe for being ignored, and you do not want to be ignored. When everything is firing on all cylinders, none of that happens. You're having trusted advisor conversations with high-fee clients that have urgent, pervasive, expensive problems that they're looking to solve, and you are choosing the clients just as much as the clients are choosing you. So you are doing authority-based sales. You are not doing peddler-based sales. And the stone cold truth is that you can't upsell a broke person. The world has changed because of COVID-19 in permanent, profound ways, and your services and your programs and your offers need to adapt. And if there were a way to make all of these, these are already all caps. If there was all caps on the all caps, I would have used that. That's how important that is. So we need to build or rebuild your expert speaker pyramid and then focus on the folks that you can help to survive, that you can help them to survive, to pivot, and to win in their version of the new normal with whatever expertise you have. So leadership, customer service, team building, innovation, strategy, strategic planning, any of those things. Here is what that pyramid looks like. And we'll use this. I'll just kind of walk you through this. Then it's a good spot for a break. Online course is that foundational level, $1,000 to $3,000 typically. You know, some people do it cheaper. I don't recommend you have anything less than that, because then it seems like, you know, commodity kind of crap, and you don't want that. So $997 is a good number, $1,497, $2,000, $3,000, whatever. That's kind of the ballpark range where these things typically land. Your next level up is going to be your virtual training and speaking. And again, change this based on your offline rates, and, you know, your mileage will vary here, of course. But your virtual training and speaking, somewhere in that 5, 10, 15 range. Coaching and consulting, virtual, 100% remote, 100% online. Next level up is remote mentoring, elite access programs, inner circle, executive councils, things like that. That you might charge $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month. That starts to get in some nice monthly recurring revenue. So we're going to pick it up right from there when we come back. Let me turn it back to Aaron. And how are we doing so far? Helpful, useful, some light bulbs going off?
I appreciate every part of it. Folks, thank you, David. Folks, let's take a 15-minute break, and we'll start up again at 2:30. How's that sound? Are we good? All right, thanks. See you in a bit.
Sounds good. Aaron, go ahead and hit pause on record too.
Thanks for that reminder. We're looking to provide big solutions that will provide much more value and hence draw a bigger check. Thanks for that. Foundation, take it away, David.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, everyone. And
Aaron, don't, oh, you are recording. Okay, got it.
yeah.
Somebody got it. Probably Bruce. Thanks, Bruce.
All righty. Let's go back into screen share mode here. This is where we left it. So this is the sort of ascension ladder or product pyramid, or call it what you want. But having these 4 foundational pieces are going to be the driver of your remote revenue stream. 100% online, 100% virtual. All right, let's figure out how this works. I just wanted to pop this in here from Bryn Tillman, who's both a friend and a client. This is about scalability. So this is going back to this model here, that we're not selling one-offs, we're not selling classes, we're not selling a training day, we're not selling a speech, but we're really selling some larger kind of transformational thing. And we're also able to upgrade people based on depth and duration and detail. Once Bryn had that light bulb go off, she says, during David's program, I saw a clear path to building a multi-million-dollar business. Even more important, got into action right away and got 2 new clients the first week just by doing my homework. With the clarity, and again, this is about clarity, right? With the clarity I got by going through this process, I will triple the size of my business this year. Not by doing more of the same, not by filling up the calendar like I did with the Tetris blocks, not by getting more low-fee clients, but by really embracing this pyramid model. So foundation, level 1 program, level 2 program, level 3 program, that's what Bryn was getting excited about. That led to, oh my gosh, you know, I'm sitting here with a couple $100,000 business. I now can see my way to doing multi-million dollars and triple the size of the business in the next 12 months. So the real 5-hour work week, with apologies, of course, to Tim Ferriss, this is what my calendar looked like in May of 2016. So I showed you the 2013 version. I would do a live-led course, meaning a new course, a new program that had not been recorded yet. I would pop that in Tuesdays at 2 o'clock. Our Speaker Profit Formula program would run twice a week, and it used to be at 4 o'clock, and before we wrapped it up, it was at noon. But anyway, so that was Tuesdays, so an hour block. Thursdays, our Platinum program, which is the Lead Access Mastermind group that we have, that was at 2 o'clock. SPF second call was on Thursdays at 4, and then I would do a webinar sometime that week. This particular week, it happened to be on Friday the 13th. Lucky Friday the 13th. So these were fixed points in my calendar. Not to say that the rest was completely empty, but I did actually have to ask some of my online friends, people who had online businesses who were friends. I literally, let me stop the screen share for a quick sec. I literally had to ask them, so what do you do all day? And they said, what do you mean? I said, I have all this free time now. Like, what do you do? And they go, oh, well, we do photography. We hang out with the kids. I lift weights. I go to the gym. And I'm like, during the work day? Like, what are you talking about? That's crazy talk. They go, what do you do, during the day? Well, I used to do, right? I used to have the crazy schedule and running around and doing and once I adopted this model, I was literally did not know what to do with myself early on. Since I've figured it out, but I did not know what to do with myself early on, which was a very, very strange feeling. But let's pop back into slideshow mode here, and I'll share the screen. That's not the share the screen button, that's the chat button. There we go. You see, I chose not to get the certified virtual presenter designation, so I can make these mistakes without feeling terrible about it. All right, so what does this really mean? This really means that I went from the 27 meetings to 3 to 5 standing meetings a week with paying clients or with paying prospects. That was the new normal. John Ramstead came through our program. He says, using your talking points, I just got my first $25,000 this week. Client gave me $5,000 at the last meeting. We'll pay the balance when we start our program next week. Muchas gracias. This is, again, one of these things where you do not need a lot of clients. You do not need to be filling your calendar with exhausting, hour after hour, hourly consulting or low fee kind of transactional consulting. Just like with Copy Green, who I showed you earlier, you can sell big. You can sell big. You can sell big value. You can sell big ticket. John's a very skilled speaker and very talented corporate coach. Actually, his fees have even gone up for one-on-one executive coaching since this time. But even before putting a scalable group program together, he was able, with this new mindset and this new tool set, to dramatically increase his individual executive coaching fees as well. So, we have a couple of doors, a couple of different profit centers and revenue streams in our business. A couple of these doors are closed right now. So obviously, with no meetings, no events, no face-to-face, no face-to-face training, things have moved online. The physical things have been either postponed or canceled or switched around. The door that's open right now for us to walk through is quick profitability, helps you generate cash. It's an exclusive high fee offering. It's not cheap. It's not lowballing your expertise. It's 100% remote delivery, and you can have a COVID-19 adapted value prop with the marketing language bank that I gave you before the break, with the new language, the new nouns, and the new verbs that we talked about. Even better news is there's nothing stopping you from experimenting with this, playing with it, floating it by a couple of past clients, current clients, people that are calling you right now. Rebuild your value prop around the new virtual delivery models. Monetize it, create it, test it, and refine it as you go. And I'm going to show you a couple of screenshots of me figuring some things out, going back to that mantra of go before you're ready, and maybe even sell it before it exists. And I'll show you that in a moment. Make money while you figure it out. Make money, please make money while you figure it out. And then later, you can scale it up, systematize it, perfect it, fine tune it. So these are webinars and promotions and emails for these kind of group programs that I've been showing you. These are same-day sales. And thank God that part of the CSP designation changed in 2014 to same-day sales, because same-day sales I can do, and virtual I can do. So as soon as they changed that CSP model, I went from absolutely no way in hell to, oh my God, I already have this. So instant transformation. It was fun to pull records from 10 years ago out of my paper calendars, though. Anyway, I digress. February 27th, 2014, did a webinar, got a whole bunch. This program was brand new, right? It was live-led group coaching kind of program, $10,535. Later in that year, I pulled out here November 20th, $13,877 while I was figuring it out. Then we did something later in 2016. I used Eventbrite instead of PayPal, so that screenshot looks different, for the $16,317. And then February 25th of 2015, again, while I was figuring it out, sold a bunch of folks into a group live-led program, $20,226.73. Let me emphasize, these are all first-time, experimental, sort of knew what I was doing, but not really kind of programs. I knew the content, I knew the value I wanted to deliver. I was experimenting with new packaging, new formats, new delivery modes for this. So you're already brilliant at doing what you're doing. I'm not saying, hey, claim to have expertise that you don't. I'm saying let's repackage expertise in some new distribution models that you might not be 100% comfortable in yet, but go before you're ready. Go before you're ready. So given that caveat that you're not hoodwinking anybody and you're not, pretending to be something that you're not, you're taking the same expertise and you're floating it out there in a different format, a different buying package. Type in the word yes into the chat box if you'd like to get paydays like these while you figure it out. You don't have this figured out yet. But yes, with some dollar signs, yes, with a single dollar sign, heck yes, whatever it is, type yes if you'd like to get paydays like the ones I just showed you, 10 grand, 13 grand, 16 grand, 20 grand, haven't quite figured it out, but you put 16 grand in my bank account, I will start to figure some things out pretty quick. And I'm sure we put 10, 13, 16 grand in your bank account, you would start to figure out some things pretty quick also. So this is the go before you're ready. Your expertise is solid. The distribution model is new. Do not let that stop you. Do not let that stop you. And there's lots and lots and lots of dollar signs. I love Laura's answer. That just kind of goes off on like multiple screens there. Excellent. So me too. And this becomes kind of a fun thing. Now, if you decide, okay, I want to have a flagship program. So those were all different programs that I was kind of trialing and do people want this? Do people want that? How about this program? How about this topic? Once you have a central core program, like our Speaker Profit Formula program used to be from 2014 to 2020, you want to work backwards. And the way to build a flagship program is to write the marketing copy first. Write the marketing copy first. It's a building block formula that I'm going to unpack here for you in a moment. It is client-centric. It has nothing to do with what you want to teach. It's 100% based on what they want to learn, do, or become. Write that down somewhere. It is super important. It is not about you. It's not about your content. It's not about your topic. It is 100% client-centric about what they want to learn, do, or become. And it's exactly what your prospects want, need, and are looking for help with right now. So it's not a nice to have, it's in that have to have category. So it's super relevant, COVID-19, post-COVID-19 messaging wrapper around it. So they want it, they get it, they need it. This is something they're already looking for help with. Building block number 1 is your 8 to 10 week high fee mentoring program. This is 1 or 2 calls a week. I showed you the calendar a second ago. So these were my Tuesday, Thursday, 4 p.m. calls. You can do just 1 call a week if you want to. So our high fee mastery program, our high fee webinars program, that is 1 call a week, not 2. You decide. Do you want to have 1 call a week with your client group? Do you want to have 2 calls a week with your client group? If you want to have 2, you might want to consider the first call as a strategy or a training call. The second call might be an action planning or an accountability call. If you only have one call a week, you can combine those. And then it's 8 to 10 weeks, and it's somewhere in the range of 5 to 10K. You do not want to lowball your high fee program. I know it sounds crazy to say it like that. It's called the high fee program. It's not called the low fee program. It's not called the low, high-ish fee. It is a high fee mentoring program. The pricing is part of the value perception. Remember when we started out today, we talked about the nightmare clients and the nightmare prospects. You want to automatically repel those people, and you want to attract the serious executives and buyers and decision makers who will do the work, who will implement, who will repeat, refer, and recommend you like crazy. Lowball, broke-ass loser clients do not refer and recommend anything. And they're a huge pain in your butt, and you want to avoid them like the plague. Pun intended. Building block number 2, your high fee elite access program, formerly known or sometimes misnamed mastermind programs. I really hate the term mastermind because it's been so used and abused and misused, but it's really a high fee elite access program. Who is it elite access to? It's elite access to you. So think of this as having one-on-one clients at scale. One-on-one clients at scale, meaning that you work with them in a group, but they can email you, they can call you. There's a Facebook group perhaps where they can interact with you on a very deep, very personal, very high access level. So you're on their team to support them towards some kind of outcome. These high fee elite access groups are usually year-long or multi-year, meaning think of it like a country club. No one joins a country club or a golf club for a year. Right? You join and they're assuming that you're going to keep going year after year after year until you say stop or until you move out of the area or whatever it is. Same thing. You want 2-year client, 3-year client, 4-year client, 7-year client. You want clients that stick with you like glue. And if you put enough value into your high fee elite access program, they will. This consists of virtual monthly meetings, and they were always virtual monthly meetings. We never did, because then you're limiting yourself to local, which you don't want to do. So these are virtual monthly meetings. You have coaching clinics, which are blocks of time where you can speak to them one-on-one like a college professor. Pardon me. 2 to 3 live or virtual summits a year. We just did for our Platinum Council group, we were going to do a live event in Philadelphia. Obviously, there was no live events because that would have been crazy in June. So we did a 2-day virtual event. Our next 2-day event with that particular group is in November. I'm not doing any live event in November either because that would be crazy. So that's going to be a virtual event. When it comes back, when we're able to do small scale events in person safely, these would be in-person experiences with your high fee elite access people. I just happen to be stuck in this kind of weird virtual world now. Previous to this, we had done these in Los Angeles. We've done these in New York City. We've done these in Florida. We were going to do the November event in Austin, but obviously the November event's going to be virtual just because of the global situation. And this is the annual program that I mentioned before. That's going to be your $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 per month. Monthly recurring revenue is how most people will pay. Some people who are flush just say, hey, you know what? I'm going to pay it all up front. So if you have a $4,000 per month program, you charge $40K for the year. They basically get 2 months free. Cash flow, awesome. I love people who prepay. So building block number 3, if you want to, optional, is recorded modules. That's where you take the live lead and you dress it up, digify it, sexify it, invent your own verb, add video, audio, text. Keep it super simple though. Again, we don't need the green screens. We don't need the 3-camera shoot. We don't need all the crazy stuff. It's perfectly fine to do voiceover, PowerPoint, video, strip out the audio, give them a downloadable MP3, get some stuff transcribed. Now they have, they can read it instead of watch it or listen to it. Keep it super, super simple when you go into the recorded online world. As far as filling your program, It is 10 times easier than you think. I fill all my programs with one PDF or one Google Doc. We use an application process with key questions on it about where they are, where they want to go, what they're working on, what's kind of a priority for them. We use a flipped phone script. So it's 100% based on questions. It's not based on me talking about the program. Remember before the break, we talked about too much push, not enough pull, and that mule kind of selling, trying to pull the mule. We don't pull the mule. We qualify them in a peer-to-peer trusted advisor type sales conversation. I am qualifying them just as much, if not more so, than they are qualifying me. So I am asking them, hey, are you my guy or are you my gal, as much as they're asking themselves or they're asking me in some respect, hey, are you my guy? And so it's a total peer level. And it's 100% based on question-based selling. We talk about the structure and the process and the system and their outcomes if they use our structure and our process and our system. We do not pitch the features and benefits or the table of contents of the program. You've had this experience, I'm sure, selling training or selling speaking. Let me actually pop out here. This is important. Anytime that they say, so what's this program really about? You say, well, module 1 is about this, and module 2 is about that, and module 3 is about this. You're dead. It's over, right? You do question-based selling, and they say, well, tell me about your program. Here's your pivotal line. Well, Laura, it's funny. This conversation that you and I are having, it's a microcosm of everything that we would work on in the program. So you said that A was a real problem. We spend a ton of time on A, whatever letter A happens to be. You mentioned that you're really frustrated with your team's ability to do letter B. Well, letter B that's actually modules 2, 3, and 4. It is so important. We spend 3 weeks out of our 8 weeks together on letter B. And then you also said that if you don't get C done this year, your VP is going to be furious and you might even lose your job. Well, I have great news. The entire back half of our program is about how to put the structure, the system, the process in place to make sure that letter C is never a problem for you again. So what I do there is I contextualize, I don't lie, I selectively contextualize my program around exactly what they said they want and need. If my program involves letter D, and they never mentioned letter D as anything important to them at all, why the heck would I spend a second in that sales conversation talking about letter D? I wouldn't, So one of the mantras is, and this is actually in the Do It Marketing book that Bill has on his desk, if the client wants to talk about C, bananas, and giraffes, do not talk about A, oranges and elephants. Don't do it. You're going to lose the sale, right? Talk about what they want to talk about in terms that they are using in language that's important to them. So when you fill the program, the sales conversation just becomes, it's an organic mirror, and you hold the mirror up to what they want, what they need, what they're working on, what their strategic initiatives are, what their priorities are. Learn to speak prospect language about prospect problems, and you'll close a whole heck of a lot more sales with anything and everything that you ever want to sell. Let's go back into the fun. And John Barb came through an early version of our program that had super, super low tech. His program, we did live lead. It was phone only. And this was even before I was getting on Facebook. It was like 2009, 2010, whatever it was. We used Yahoo groups. So this was completely primitive. And if I can do a primitive, bare bones program with no glitz, no tech, nothing fancy, we talked about keep the tech super simple. Here's what John said about the super simple version of the program. Went so far and above my wildest expectations, it's hard to put into words. Incredibly valuable in every single class, every single time. Clear, simple, and actionable. Just one money-making idea after money-making idea. I couldn't be happier with my investment in David's programs. The reason I share this one is he went through totally no tech, low tech, first time through. He was one of those experiments that I showed you the shopping cart, right? If you can get this kind of client testimonial, this kind of client case study, and you are using low tech, no tech, super simple, first time through, you are unleashing your expertise, not worrying about the technology, not worrying about the 3 cameras and the green screen. Is it perfect? And do I have beautiful PDFs? And is everything formatted in full color? And what if I skip something in week 3, part 4, minute 27? Don't worry about it, right? Everyone here has expertise that can simply be repackaged and redeployed in these high-fee programs that your clients will love. Love, 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 love. Capital L, capital O, capital V, capital E. If I can get this kind of testimonial with basically tin cans and string, imagine if we had the tech that we have today. So this is not about making it overcomplicated, over tech wizardry. Please don't do that. Don't overcomplicate things. So here's the story. I want to point out sort of the calendar and then the revenue. This is about disconnecting your revenue from your time, attention, and presence. If you have 5 people in a $20,000 a year program and you spend Thursdays at 2 o'clock in the afternoon with them, you're spending an hour and you're getting 100K from those people over the course of a year. You have 10 people in that same group. Now you're making 200K. It's the same hour. You have 15 people. It's 300K. It's the same hour. Now, people, I know what you're saying. What if 15 people have more questions than 10 people? Fine. Add 30 minutes. Now it's a 90-minute call instead of a 60-minute call. Poor you. You're spending 90 minutes a week and you got a $300,000 per year revenue stream. I think you'll be okay. I think you'll not be too angry at me if we implement that with you. Now, let's say you have a 6K program. And so on your Tuesdays and Thursdays, get 5 people in there. They're paying $6,000, 30,000 bucks. You spend 2 hours. Same math, 10 of them, 60K, same 2 hours. 15 of them, 90K, same 2 hours. This is what I mean by your time, attention, and presence is the same. It is not one for one. It is not going to fill up your calendar. It is not going to block your lifestyle and freedom and scalability to do what you want to do in the way that you want to do it, impact and help a lot of people. The time, attention, and presence is the same. Maybe it expands by 10%, 15%, whatever it is. An hour call becomes a 90-minute call. An hour call becomes a 75-minute call. When you're making this kind of money, I think you'll be okay. I think you'll be okay with throwing on an extra 10, 15, 20 minutes when people have extra questions. Now, when I say impact, I just kind of mapped out, this is my sort of impact document here by the numbers in case you're curious. This is not in 1 year, of course, this is over the past 5 years. So we've had 435 people come through our various mentoring programs. The price points are between $7,500 and $15K. So that's about $3.5 million bucks over the last 5 years. We have 41 people came through our Platinum Council. There's 20 of them that are in there, awesome active people in there right now. 203 people in the last 5 years have come through my live-led courses that are priced anywhere from 2K to 5K. My tax bill is well into 6 figures. That just comes with the territory. Too bad for me. What I'm really proud of and what I'm really excited about is my 2019 donations are north of $75,000. I'd like to make that $100,000. Eventually, I've got a bucket list goal of making enough annual revenue to give away $1 million, but we're not quite there yet. But we did do $75,000 in donations to causes and charities that we believe in. And I maxed out my SEP IRA. Happy tax day 2 days ago. And the max for 2019, in case you're curious, is $56,000. So the number of people I can help with this model and the amount of charitable give back that I can do with this model and that you can do with this model is far above and beyond working with your clients one-on-one. So I just want to sort of share this so that you can see the potential impact that you can make on the people that you serve, the people that you care about, the people that are important to you, the charities, the causes, the churches, the synagogues, the mosques, the causes, the campaigns that you want to see do well. You now have what I call financial energy. I don't call it just money because it's more than money. It's financial energy to make the change in your life and your family's life and in the world at large so that you can contribute with a capital C contribution to your clients and to your family and to your community and to your world. So this is the slide that I'm the most excited about. It's not about, how much do you make? It's about how many people you can help and how many people you can serve and what the impact is that you can make in the world once you adopt this high-fee business model. So knowing that it's about your contribution, knowing that it's about your give back, knowing that it's about helping and serving more of the people that you were put on this planet to help and serve, what would your life and business look like? Pop in the question box here. What would your life and business look like if your primary services, your main services, were 100% scalable, like I showed you? More clients doesn't equal more time. More clients doesn't equal more effort. More clients doesn't equal more calendar days. 100% scalable, 100% remote and virtual, and post-COVID-19 hyper-relevant, meaning that your services, your programs, your virtual keynotes, your training, speaking, coaching, consulting, facilitation, council meetings, roundtables, CEO roundtables, all of those were now more than ever relevant. What would that feel like? What are some emotion words? What's kind of coming up for you as you envision that new business? And the revenue is flowing and you're not scared. I mean, God forbid there's another pandemic. There was just again, not to do shock tactics, but this is, you can research this and look it up. Morgan Stanley just came out with a survey, a research survey that says not only are we doing this kind of bounce now that people are, being crazy, there's going to be an entire second wave in November of 2021. That's probably going to be worse than the first. That's not according to me. It's according to this Morgan Stanley study that came out. I can share the link. I can pop it in the NSA Northwest group or send it to Aaron. There's a lot of scary data out there from completely objective, non-political, non-biased sources. Morgan Stanley, if anything, there's a financial services company. They want to avoid panic. They want to reassure people, but their research shows that November 21, we're getting a whole second tsunami wave of this craziness. So if you were safe from that, if you were totally prepared for that in November of 2021, what would your life and business look like if you made this shift in some big, profound way? Devote time to family, safety, save your sanity, save my health. Absolutely. Living the dream in Maui and loving life. Yes, exactly right. Exactly right. I love those answers. So there is, this is an urgent thing. This is not, I wish I wasn't the bearer of bad news, but any serious research you do in the meetings industry, in the events industry, Microsoft right in your backyard, as you know, they've canceled all live events through June of 21. So they're saying 12 months, no meetings. And it's not because Microsoft Teams is so fantastic. It kind of sucks, but that's a whole separate conversation. If these large global companies that have hundreds and hundreds of meetings all around the world, if they're saying we're not doing it, imagine what the industry is doing. Imagine what, again, herd mentality. We talked about this. This is not going to go away anytime soon, no matter how much you and I wish to the contrary. So last couple of points here, and then we'll jump into our Q&A. I just want to share with you this saying, caveat venditor. We're all familiar with the opposite, which is caveat emptor, buyer beware. Caveat venditor is seller beware. Seller beware is you can sell your time, but you can never buy it back. So please, please consider this very, very seriously. when you do this high fee mentoring and mastermind and high fee speaking and training model, there's all kinds of crap that you do not need. There's all kinds of programs that you've probably bought that you can safely put back on the shelf. You do not need to do massive list building because that is really, really hard. I've done it and I know how hard it is. When I started doing these high fee programs, I had very small lists. I had practically no list to speak of. Spending a fortune on ads, we're not going to ask you to spend a single penny on any sort of paid advertising. You don't need super fancy sales pages. You do not need videos or webinars or email blasts, time-sucking launch nonsense. This is really about reaching out to help a small select group, low volume, high relationship, trusted advisor style outreach. Pretty much what you were doing or should have been doing all the time to fill your speaking, coaching, training, and consulting calendar. Now we're doing it to fill our online programs, and it is highly selective, highly curated individual outreach to economic decision makers. Why this makes sense? Because this is going to help you fix all of your marketing for all of your services, not just for short term, not just between now and December or now and whenever things get back to some semi-normal. It's going to help you generate cash fast in the new normal. You're going to fine tune and sharpen the value prop as you go, but get paid now because we talked about that. You're going to build small and then scale it up later as a proven expert with proven authority, fantastic case studies, client testimonials, and a track record of doing this. And I hope that this has served as some sort of wake-up call that now is the time, now is the best time to get going on this new kind of business model. You're probably tired of hearing, oh, you should do an online course. Oh, you should get into some online coaching. Oh, you should, start doing some one-on-one executive consulting. You should do some live-led group trainings, but really have no idea where to begin. You want to protect your cash flow, revamp your business for online and remote delivery, and then charge premium fees for premium value. Or like me, deep down, you know that offering these high-fee virtual-based programs is the key to help you survive now, thrive later, pivot your revenue model, and never be dependent on showing up anywhere that you don't want to in the future, just because you now have a hybrid online-offline business model, and you can flex it one way or the other way as circumstances, or God forbid your health, or again, God forbid another pandemic, or another act of global terrorism, or whatever our next disaster is going to be. You now have a safety net when you build an online capability into your business. Charles Scott, very interesting guy. He was a Vistage speaker. He just spoke to small groups of CEOs, very ambitious in building his online program. He says, I checked in with him. He says, thanks for checking, David. I made $54,000 in the past month, in the past 30 days from the executive mentoring program I created. He says, thank you for providing the tools, framework, and motivation for me to create an executive mentoring program that exceeded my most ambitious financial goals. The magic with Charles is he embraced the word existing. He took his existing content, his existing topic, to his existing audience with his existing relationships. This guy is the anti-marketer. I couldn't get him to send a single email blast. I couldn't get him to spend a minute on LinkedIn. He didn't want to do videos. He didn't want to do webinars. He said, David, will this be a problem? And I wanted to give him a big hug and a big kiss. I said, dude, this program is designed for you. Because there's all that nonsense that I said on that previous slide you don't need. Not only did he not need it, he didn't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole, and he didn't need to touch it with a 10-foot pole because he went back to his existing contacts, his existing clients, his existing network, his existing audience, his existing relationships, and he was able to generate $54,000 in 30 days from his high-fee mentoring programs. So, please, please, please remember, as we close up here and we're about to swing into our Q&A, clients, even though they're hiding under their desk, even though they're crazy, busy, befuddled, freaked out, they need you now more than ever. They really, really, really do. And if you don't offer to help them now, if you don't overcome that resistance, if you don't send that email, check in on them, pick up the phone, send that text, whatever way that you like to reconnect and reactivate with clients who have already given you money, or reach out to new ones who have not, if you don't offer to help them now, you are withholding vital business-saving, career-saving support for them. And I want you to really embrace that fact. This is about serving before selling. It's about helping before pitching. It is not about old school, arm twisting, pushy, weird, salesy tactics. This is absolutely a time to give more to every prospect and every client. But I beg you, please, 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 don't take that to mean that you should be selling any less. So yes, we give more, we give more, we give more generously, we give more frequently with no fee attached, but this is not the time to sell any less vigorously. I would say it's a time to both give more and sell more. Do more giving, do more out of generosity, do more out of reconnecting and reactivating with clients who already know you and love you, and sell more vigorously, sell more assertively. Now, I have all kinds of cool goodies for you. We're going to keep this slide up during our Q&A. Go to kiwilive.com. You can open a fresh tab. It works on your computer. It works on your iPad. It works on your phone. Go to kiwilive.com. You're going to type in the event keyword DOIT, D-O-I-T, which is my event keyword. You are going to get this PowerPoint deck that I just uploaded for you earlier today. You're going to get all my social media connections. If you want to connect with me on LinkedIn, I'd love to connect with you on LinkedIn and Twitter and Facebook and all that jazz. You're getting my 37-page manifesto, and you're getting 3 separate PDFs, high-fee mentoring resources. So you're getting the 7 steps to build your high-fee program, which expands on some of the teaching that we did here today. You're getting the high-fee action guide, and you're getting a third thing that I forget, but it's awesome, and it's directly related to building high-fee mentoring and mastermind programs. Let me just confirm, before we hop into our Q&A, is someone getting that to work? Is that live? Is that up and running? You go to Kiwi Live, type in my event keyword, which is do it. It's going to ask you 2 quick questions, and then it's going to give you the goodies. It's also going to send you an email, by the way. The email that it's going to send you contains all the links in case you don't want to download the goodies on your phone. You can always pick up that email, download them onto your computer. You'll get the PowerPoint deck, you'll get the 37-page Do It manifesto, and you'll get 3 separate high-fee mentoring resources from me. With that, let me turn it over to Aaron and Q&A, and then I've got sort of a little closing comment here after the Q&A, but let's jump into our Q&A and take it away, my friends. What can I answer for you?
Thank you, David. I think our numbers here in this session are such that people could probably just speak up and go from there rather than needing me to monitor this.
Perfect. So who has the first question? Just unmute, and people can unmute, right? They can unmute themselves?
Yeah, they should be able to.
So I am all yours for questions, and we're going to wrap up the questions when, Aaron?
Well, the meeting can go till 4 o'clock, but we'll see. Our meeting's scheduled till 4.
Excellent. No, by the way, no one ever left a session, online or offline, and said, "Oh my God, that was too short."
Exactly.
Just so you know. In the theater, by the way, Bill Stanton and I come from the old theater environment. We have a great saying called "Leave them wanting more." So if you do in your webinars, in your videos, in your teaching, if you leave them wanting more, they're going to come back. They're going to love you. There's no such thing as a great presentation that went too short.
That's right. Elisa, it looks like you might have a question.
I do. I do.
All right, go for it.
David, you talk about you have the 8 to 10 week, or you're recommending in my very chicken scratch notes, 8 to 10 week mentoring program and year-long beyond the high-fee elite access. And how do you, if people want to be on a payment plan, if you will, a monthly payment plan. Do they sign an agreement with you? How do you, I don't know if prevent is really the right word, but how do you handle people who pay 1 month and go, yeah, I'm done now?
So,
I mean, you probably don't have that happen. How would I handle that is probably
correct. No, and you're not going to have it happen either. So there's a huge difference between a membership and a payment plan. And I am maniacal, and everyone on my team, I train to be maniacal. We never use the M word. If you say, oh, hey, you're a member of our program, they figure it's like a gym membership. Well, I want to stop coming. I want to stop paying. I guess I'll just stop my membership. So we never, ever, ever call it a membership. So it is an installment plan or a payment plan on the program fee. They do sign an agreement that spells this out very clearly and very explicitly. And in the 8-week program, we've probably been stiffed, I want to say once, but it was probably twice out of well over 800 people that have come in since 2014. And that's in all of our programs. That's in the courses, that's in the mentoring, that all the math that I showed you. You add up all those people that could have had payment plans. It's over 800 people. I think we were stiffed twice. On the big program, we have never been stiffed, but someone quit in month 1 because of some extreme extenuating circumstances. And it wasn't about the program, it was about her life. The key, and again, this is about the high fee. Remember the high fee beneficial loop, right? High fee, high expectation, high level of work, high level of respect, high level of result, high level of, bonding and satisfaction and wonderfulness. I'm going to say something weird, but I think you'll immediately pick up the significance of it. If I charged a lot less money, I would have a lot more refunds. The people who have refunds are the ones that sell crap for the $197, $297 kind of internet marketing crowd. And the typical refund rate or return rate with all these programs that have a 30-day unconditional guarantee, it's somewhere between 35 and 40%. And when I found this out, I was amazed. I was shocked. I was stunned. The part that explains this is with like Tony Robbins and some of these big, huge marketers, Dean Graziosi, et cetera. When they return the box and they ask for a refund, the majority of the time, the shrink wrap is still sealed. They didn't even open so it's not like the program is bad. It's not like the program doesn't work. They were somehow mesmerized, and then the spouse got the credit card bill. What the hell is this? You $297 to Tony Robbins? What's wrong with you? You send that back right this moment. And that's the male version of that. That's the male partner speaking to the wife. Anyway, you get the idea. So low fee crap gets returned and refunded a lot. High fee programs like the ones you and I are going to be doing, very, very, very low refund rate. I mean, incredibly low, ridiculously low.
Thank you.
But as protection, they signed the agreement.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Who else has a question? Just feel free to unmute and fire away.
Talk about prospecting, if you please.
Yeah, it sucks. It's terrible. Oh, horrible. Never prospect. Don't do it.
Thanks.
All right. So talk about prospecting for high fee programs.
Yes, please.
And Brian, give me a little sketch just of your business as far as how big is your list, how many years in business, what's your organic network look like right now?
Yeah, I consider me starting from scratch. I've come out of a corporate career and have been doing independent consulting and low dollar figure work, mostly around per se communications, corporate communications.
Okay.
I'm pivoting that into getting more love out of your existing customers. My corporate background has a lot of catering to the installed base and putting together programs to get their voice into your company. and I've been doing training and some consulting around that, but mostly it's been the per se comms. Where I
Okay.
would want to go with a high ticket offering is it's all about getting more out of your customer base. So one question is B2B versus B2C and who's paying,
Yes.
the other is finding them.
Sure. So finding them is all about identifying them. So if you said, okay, I'm after the chief customer officer, I'm after the chief marketing officer, I'm after the VP of customer experience, whatever, we pop on LinkedIn, we create what I call an active 20 prospect list. And you say, okay, these 20 people, I am going to knock on their door. I'm going to send them some content. I'm going to have a door opening conversation. I'm going to invite them to a interview. I'm going to invite them onto my podcast. I'm going to invite them into a survey that I'm doing, an industry survey. So this is really important that you show up as an authority and not as a salesperson. You show up on their radar the first time as an authority, not as a salesperson. So when people say, well, I'm about to meet with so-and-so for the first time, what do I pitch? What do I sell? What do I offer them? I say you pitch them nothing, you sell them nothing, you offer them nothing. Then I get that deer in the headlights kind of look. And they say, so what's the first meeting about? So well, the first meeting is about you being the friendly expert and you doing a deep dive diagnostic, peeling the onion questioning strategy about what do they want, what do they need, where are they now, and agitating the gaps. So one of the things that I learned along the way in this kind of high ticket sales process is the acronym PAS for problem, agitate, solve. So if you know the pains, problems, heartaches, headaches, and challenges of your ideal prospect, you know who they are, you know who to find them because you've identified them by job description, title, level, industry, what have you. We find them on LinkedIn. We figure out what are some of those challenges and we write, let's say, a 500 to 600 word article that is a direct bullseye on one of those challenges. And then we sort of look around in the blogs, portals, communities, and groups where they're already gathering, and we try and insert ourselves into a conversation that's already underway. And you say, well, you know, Bob, Karen, Fred, it's funny. I just blogged about this. What's your best email address? And I'd be happy to send you the link. And they go, oh, okay, I'm David at doitmarketing.com. And, you know, blah, blah, sure. I send them the link. And I say, by the way, if that sparks your interest, this happens to be an area of my expertise. I'd be happy to jump on a 15, 20-minute phone chat with you to explore your exact situation and some strategies that might help. They get the article. They go, oh my God, this would be great. So this is just simply a percentage of people that you reach out to. All of them will be grateful for the information and for the value. And a certain percentage will say, yeah, I'd love to have a chat with you. In that chat, there is nothing for sale. You don't bring up your products, your services, your programs. It's simply that problem, agitate, solve format, right? At the end of this call, here is exactly what you say. I hope you guys sell this recording for many, many thousands of dollars. What you say at the end of call number one is you say, Brian, it's been a fantastic conversation. What was the biggest takeaway from our chat today? Oh, I really loved what you said about blah, 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 blah. Okay. Brian, I've got one final question for you, and then we'll kind of wrap up with any final questions that you may have for me. My final question to you is, there's two kinds of folks that sign up for these sort of calls. The first kind of person just wants the free advice, information, and brainstorming, and that's really all they want, and that's 100% fine. The second kind of person, of course, they want the advice, the insights, the brainstorming, but they're also test driving what a working relationship with me might feel like. Which camp do you find yourself in? Now, when you do this, here's how the numbers are going to fall out. 50% will say, I'm in camp number one, just wanted the free information, can't hire you, wasn't thinking of hiring you, you're an awesome, generous person, thanks, I'm out. So 50% will say category one. A full 30%, and this was amazing to me when I started doing this, a full 30% will say, yeah, I spent some time on your website, I saw you on LinkedIn, I figured we needed some help, so I was kind of test driving. And then the remaining 20%, because you've had that deep dive diagnostic conversation all about them, all about their company, all about their problems, all about their situation, all about their favorite person in the world, which is them, they will say, you know what? I came on this call. I had no intention of hiring you, buying anything, bringing you in. This last 25 minutes was so valuable, and you helped me see so many things about what we're doing wrong. I think we do need to bring you in, and we do need to talk about how that would work and what that looks like, and what you charge, and blah, 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 blah. So they're either in the 30% that say, yes, I want to do business with you, or in the 20% that just said, well, I wasn't, but now I'm interested. Here's what you say. You say, fantastic. That was not the purpose of our call today. I would never do a bait and switch. I would never try and have a friendly consultation call and then whack you over the head with the sales hammer. Because you are interested in the possibilities of working together, let's look at our calendars. I've got tomorrow at 10. I've got tomorrow at 3. We can also do Monday at 11. Which works better for you? So you take that first helping call and you book the sales conversation right at the end of that call. At that point, you know it's a sales conversation. They know it's a sales conversation, and you have maintained the integrity of I am here to help you. I am a trusted advisor. I am not a peddler. I'm not going to jump into sales mode. I'm not going to shove a whole bunch of crap down your throat that you never wanted to even talk about. We had the helping call. You said, I would like to learn more about becoming a client. I would like to learn more about bringing you into our company. We're having that call Monday at 10:30. Fantastic. So there's your $300,000 sales tip for everybody, not just for Brian, but for all y'all.
Brilliant.
All y'all.
Thank you, David, very much.
You're welcome.
Awesome.
Now, again, think about, just to get back to Brian's question about prospecting, how many of those conversations per week would you really need to have a very, very good business? Oh, I'd have to have 100. No, you wouldn't. I'd have to have 25. No, you wouldn't. You'd have to have 10. 10 per week, 2 per day, and you've got a multiple six-figure business. And then just start charging higher fees too, by the way, but we can't talk about that here. But start charging higher fees. I don't even know most of your businesses, but I will guarantee that you all need to start charging higher fees. Except Bill, who needs to lower them by $5,000. Other questions? What else can I help with?
Hey, David, your pillar number 3, your recorded modules, do you use that as kind of a funnel in or a lead into your 8 to 10 week program, your high elite program, or is that kind of something that you just package in or
No, great
customize
question.
it?
So yes, totally, absolutely, and totally. So the gateway drug, if you will, is the 8-week mentoring program.
Gotcha.
Now that is a complete experience. We don't shortchange any of that. I mean, that is a beautiful end-to-end result-based, outcome-based experience. In fact, if people don't get an outcome from your 8 weeks, they won't upgrade. So you really have to make sure that it's a complete package and it's a high-fee, outcome-based program. Once they're done with that, I will typically tap 1 or 2 or 3 people on the show. Let's say it's 10 people in the group, between 20 and 30%. I will just privately tap them on the shoulder and say, hey, you've done really great in this program, and I have this other program that's sort of where the cool kids hang out. I'd like you to consider applying for it. Note the language. I would like you to consider applying for it. Oh, wow. So now they've been handpicked by the teacher, right? And these grooves run deep in our psyche, right? You've been handpicked by the teacher, like you're the teacher's pet, and you're getting a secret invitation to where the cool kids hang out. So I was never one of the cool kids in school, by the way. I was the class clown, and I spent most of my time in detention, and I always envied the cool kids. Now I'm one of the cool kids. It's awesome. And when you become a cool kid, right, then you can truly invite other cool kids, and everybody wants that. Everybody wants that. So at that point, it is private kind of curation of your 8-week people, tapping 20 to 30% of them on the shoulder, saying, I'd like to invite you to apply for, and they go, oh, wow, David, that's great. Send me the application link. Perfect. Send them the application link. And notice this is all pull. I am not pushing. I am not selling. I am not upselling you into my next program. I am inviting you to apply. And the dynamics of that, it might sound like it's just semantics or just words. It is a huge game changer. I used to push and sell and beat people over the head, and not a lot of people bought. Strange. When I started to hand select and invite people to apply, the friction went down to 0. And some people, here's the tip, they don't apply because they're lonely. They don't apply because they're bored. They apply because they're interested. They want to take that step with you. The ones that say, you know what, I'm not really ready, or you're so awesome, you're so fantastic, you're so handsome, that don't usually say the third one. This is great. Let me chew on this. I'm not quite ready. I go, absolutely fine. Totally cool. I get it. There's ways to overcome those objections also, but for the sake of this conversation, some will, some won't, and they all love the process. Whether they accept your invitation to apply or not, everyone feels honored. Everyone feels excited that they were picked to apply. It's an exclusivity thing. It's an ego thing. And that's where I get most of my folks in the Platinum Council. Now, the next logical question is, do you ever take people that did not come through your front-end program? And the answer there is yes, but it's your choice. So I have clients that I've worked with years ago, one-on-one, and I say, hey, I have this cool new thing. I think it would be great for you. Let me send you a little bit of information about it. So I will have like a one-page, that's the one-page PDF that I talked about, right? I've got a one-page PDF or a one-page Google Doc. It's very simple. It's very high level. So what I'll say to them is, if it interests you, let's hop on a call. I'll tell you more about it. This is kind of the skeleton. So I'm not sending them a 17-page brochure. I'm sending them just enough to whet their appetite and go, oh, this looks cool. I'd like to learn more about this. And then we get them on a call. And then I have a more detailed document that, we talk about if they're so inclined, and we invite them in. So, everything that I do now is invitation based. It's personalized, it's invitation based, it's organic. The marketing and the lead generation, because of where I am in my business, that is on some massive crazy scale. My personal outreach to individual prospects and individual people is still hand curated, hand selected, very much relationship based. I would never dream of trying to sell a program by sending out 38,000 emails, even though we have 38,000 emails. And don't do crazy stuff like post on LinkedIn, hey, I've got a new program, who wants in? That makes me feel special. Mm-hmm. So you can do lead, once your business starts to scale and grow, sure, do all the lead generation, do all the kind of, email list building stuff if you want to. I still do selling on a personal, hand-to-hand, individual basis. Because again, I don't need a lot of $20,000 a year clients, and neither do you.
Yeah.
I've got a question for you, David. Thank you for the info so far. I've got one on the front end. And the
so far, how much more time do you have?
We're going to keep you as long as we can. You're genius. I have a question on the front end and the back end of these elite councils.
Sure.
Do you actually use a testing mechanism on the front end? I mean, they apply to get in. Do you do some competency testing, or the way their brain is wired, anything like that?
I do not. So it's really an application form about where they are in their business, what their goals are. We ask them questions about their products and services and programs and fees, and it's kind of a diagnostic. Again, I'm in marketing, sales, and business development, so my application is in those areas. If you were doing something for leaders, it would be a leadership-based application. Tell me about your team, tell me about your company, tell me about your culture, tell me about what's working, tell me about what's not working, etc. If you were doing customer service, it would be different. If you were doing strategy, it would be different. If you were doing team building or presentation skills, it would be different yet again. So the application is really, it's not scientific. It's not what kind of personality are you or what kind of client will you be. It's where you are. Where are you in your pursuit of excellence around this topic area? Where would you like to be? And then what are some of the gaps that you're looking to close?
Gotcha. Okay. That's a good answer. On the back end, let's say that you've had the council together. You have what, 8 or 10 people in the council, the elite council.
Yes.
2 years has gone by. That's a definite bonded cohort. They have a lot of trust for you. They have a lot of trust with one another. Do you think that you need to mix them up after 2 years, or do you let them go another 2 years? What's your thought about the mix of those minds?
Sure. Well, so I love your assumption that we have zero attrition for infinity. Like any group, like a Vistage group, like a Young Presidents organization, like a entrepreneurs organization, there's always going to be a little bit of slow, natural turnover. So, let's say 60% of people want to hang out in year 2. That means that we get over the course of a year, we're going to have 40% new people. Also, people say, oh, once you've got the group together, they're together for, let's say, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and you upgrade 2 other people. Do you put them in a separate group? It's a no. I put them in the same group, and then they're just the new kids in the class. They acclimate very, very quickly. So, I think like a Vistage group or like a, Women Presidents organization, members 1 or 2 leave, 1 or 2 new ones come in. There's some natural relationships that happen. Some new relationships form. At first, I was very, very hesitant to add new people to a group. I was kind of like, nope, that group is done. I can't add any more people. But I found that adding more people actually improved the experience of the people already in there. Because here's the thing. You have to be, when I say be selective in application process, you literally cannot allow any goofballs in your program. No matter how big their credit card is, no matter how much they want to join, if you let one goofball in and you have those 8 to 10 fantastic people that you just mentioned, here comes goofball. Your other 8 to 10 people are going to be looking at you on Zoom, and the invisible caption is, seriously, you let him in? Like, how hard up were you for cash this month that you had to let this bozo in? So you really need to maintain the integrity of the group. Once your group is up and running, this application process even becomes more profound because you are hand selecting members to basically join the family. That's how I look at it, because these folks, they do form very close bonds and some great relationships. It's okay to have new family members. It's not okay to have new family members who are goofballs.
Another outstanding answer. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bill Stainton.
Thank you, David Newman. So when the goofball applies and you have to turn them down,
yes,
how do you gently do that? Well, how would somebody with a little more, diplomacy gently do that?
You are exactly correct. This is not something I'm great at. I do turn people away. Man, it's tough. I mean, it's sort of like a courtroom lawyer that you have a questioning plan and you guide the questions to the answers that you want to hear. So, for example, let's say I know that this goofball person has a very small email list. I will say, well, Frank, remind me, how big is your email list? It's like, it's only about, 300-400 people. I'm like, oh, God. Man, I am so sorry. That's kind of a knockout factor at this level because blah, 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 blah. So I will kind of make up some criteria. I will make up some reasons like, oh, yeah, Fred, your hair is red. Yeah, we're full up on redheads, dude. I would love to have you in, but, I kind of wish that you were, more of a brunette, but you're not. Gosh, let's give this 6 months and then revisit. And then he goes away, never to be seen again. So, it's kind of like a bad dating situation. It's not you, it's me, which always means it's you. So a little creative criteria adding is usually enough. But there are seriously, once you do this, and I don't say this to brag, I say this to show you how crazy effective this can be. I've had people on these enrollment calls where I'm asking these questions, and they're genuine questions, and it's not an act, and it's not a gimmick. 10, 15 minutes in, they will say something like, listen, I have my credit card ready. Can we just do this? And I was like, well, here's a magic line you can use when this happens to you. We're not quite there yet. And they're like, what? I said, well, we're not quite there yet. I still have some more questions. I want to make sure you're successful in the program. And all of these things are true, of course. You know, I tell people I can't afford to have unsuccessful clients. So unless I have a high degree of certainty that you will have success implementing what we teach and what we help you with, I kind of want to save your money. I want to save my reputation, if that's okay. And let me ask you some more questions. But there are people that, because here's the deal. This is about criteria and standards around your business. If you have criteria and standards around your business, you will attract people who both meet and don't meet your criteria, because nobody has criteria. Everyone's happy to take the next warm body with a check. Just the fact that you have guardrails around your business and that you literally are not willing to work with any warm body with a check, that suddenly has this incredible attractive power to whether they meet the criteria or not. So I will sometimes send an email, and for the folks that are on my email list, number one, God bless you, thank you for putting up with the tsunami. But I've sent out emails about, hey, we're looking for 5 new clients. There's 4 criteria. This is just for one of our higher level programs. You must be making at least $10,000 a month. You need to be in a professional services business, so consulting, training, coaching, speaking. You must be coachable and no jerks. If you qualify on all 4 of those things, notice there were 2 subjective and 2 objective criteria. So 10,000 a month, that's objective. You must be in this kind of business, that's objective. Coachable is subjective. You're not a jerk. By the way, most jerks do not realize they're jerks, in case you were curious. It's called being a sociopath. So that those 4 criteria, they will say, David, I am so close. I'm at $8,500 a month. Is there any way I can talk to you about working with you? And you know, these sound ridiculous, but they start to happen because now they know you have standards. They know that you don't work with everybody. So the standards and the criteria attract people who both meet the criteria and those who don't. And you want to talk to that person who is just, you know, your team must have at least 20 people. So if you're an executive, you're in the leadership role, you have at least 20 direct reports. Oh, Aaron, I only have 18. Is there any possible way we can hire you? And Aaron just kicks you out to the curb and says, no way, Jack, sorry. Has to be 20, can't take 18. But you want those calls because you might say, well, you know what? Let's sneak you in. Let's sneak you in anyway. You seem like a great person. You seem like we can do some great work together. You seem coachable. I'm not gonna be a stickler for that one little detail. But they will literally beg you, can you sneak me under the wire? Can you let me into the nightclub? Can I just sneak through the side door? Because you have criteria. And then you become like Felicity Huffman and you start to cheat on the college entrance exams. It's terrible. It's a slippery slope, my friends. Be careful.
I have a question for you, David.
Sure.
So mine, I'll overshare just briefly. I'm actually a lawyer. Don't hold that against me.
I won't.
But my favorite part is speaking and training on lots of things, not necessarily lawyer stuff. And a lot of my clients are small businesses just starting out, or Head Start programs, or nonprofits. And so I can do the legal work for them, but then I do the training, but my training fees are lower than I'd like them to be. But they're part of these associations, and so I'm worried about diluting my fee base. I'd like to charge more, but I've got clients who are going to big association meetings and saying, oh yeah, you got to get Jennifer, this is all she charges. And I may have a nonprofit rate, like for a small business, private business, I'm doing a reduced rate because I know they can't afford anything. So how do I balance that?
So just so I get the context here, like you're doing programs through the bar association?
No, so I'm an employment lawyer. So I'll get a client, legal stuff, and then they'll want leadership training for the team or team building for the team, employee engagement, DISC, whatever it is. So I do all those things.
And then, but what's the limiting factor on your fees beyond your own free will, which we'll talk about in a second?
So they're really just their budget. I think I'm running into a lot of organizations that don't really budget a lot for training in general.
Okay.
But then if they're a nonprofit or a Head Start, grant funded, they have very little money for training, but they need the money because if they do it wrong, they'll get put out of business.
Well, I guess that's my next question is this kind of check the box mandatory training, or is it actual things are at risk if we don't do this right and it's a business problem solving training?
It's not mandatory. It's if the leaders engage in a way that's perceived as illegal harassment or discrimination, they're at risk of a lawsuit. So I'm
what
a
I
risk
would do,
manager.
the best, I mean, I could give you all the advice in the world and you're like, oh yeah, that was the NSA Northwest meeting with Newman. Yeah, he was kind of crazy. Here's my recommendation though, to do some data-based research on this.
Thank you.
I would do a competitive scan. And I would find all of the folks that are sort of in your field and in adjacent fields, some who charge a lot more, some who are at your level, and some who charge a lot less. Because here's what I always find, and I run into this all the time. People want to create an online course. They go, David, my entire plan is going in the trash can because someone's selling a Udemy course for $19. Okay. So now you're not going to do your business because there's a Udemy course for $19. Well, I could stop my business because Seth Godin sells crap for $2.99, right? Is Seth Godin better than me, quote unquote? Sure. Is he more famous? Yeah. More books? Yeah. Better books? Yeah. Cheaper? Yeah. But you know what? You and 3,000 of your friends go into the Seth Godin group, me and 20 of all y'all, and you get to work with me personally and blah, 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 blah. So there's always, the lesson is, there's always going to be somebody better. There's always going to be somebody cheaper. And there's always going to be someone who's better and cheaper. And don't go there. Just because there's a Udemy class for $19 does not mean that my online courses are now $19. Just because, someone else charges a $500 speaking fee doesn't mean that I now charge a $500 speaking fee. So do the competitive scan, because you will see people at level 1x, 2x, 3x, 5x, and 10x. And the moment I advise all my clients to do this, like almost as a first thing, they go, oh my God, there's people charging 3 times what I'm charging, and they don't even have a law degree. And they don't even have this, and they don't have 20 years experience like I do. And what the heck have I been thinking? So that competitive scan exercise, and go a little bit beyond your industry. That's why I said within and adjacent. So look at some adjacent industries also. So if I were in marketing, which I am, I would look at some marketing trainers and consultants and some sales trainers and consultants and some social media, let's say, trainers and consultants. So I'm going to look in my neighborhood. I'm not just going to look at my literal direct competition. And that's going to be a hugely eye-opening experience for you. And that's going to be data. It's not going to be subjective. It's not going to be, I should charge more. And David said that I'm charging too little and the industry is broke. And there's always a premium provider in every industry. And I recommend that you join their ranks for everybody, not just for Jennifer. But that exercise in and of itself is going to be a huge light bulb moment for you.
I have a question, David.
Sure.
You gave some advice to Brian, and you had said to hang out in LinkedIn to find some people to start the conversation with. I've been spending a lot of time on LinkedIn because I believe the buyer of what I have to offer is the CEO. They, even though they're on LinkedIn, they don't post anything. They're inactive. They don't respond to being tagged. So do you have advice to how to get in front of them and have those conversations that you suggest when they're not active on LinkedIn?
Well, I use LinkedIn primarily as a database and a search engine. So it's a search engine for people, and it's a database of kind of who works with what company and who knows who and where I can, tap into some things. What I recommend is contacting those higher level executives off of LinkedIn. So use LinkedIn to find them use LinkedIn to possibly get referred or introduced to them, but then do that offline. Do that by email, do that by phone, do that by letter, do that by handwritten card, do that by sending an article with a Post-it note on it and a personal note, something relevant to what you know they're working on, what you know their priorities are. And again, because we don't need 100 clients a day, we don't need to do 100 cold calls a day, 100 spam emails a day. We're talking about pick 2 to 3 executives that you want to write a handwritten note to, and then follow up with an email, find their email. There's some email finding tools that if you know, Sam Richter, for example, has a fantastic tool called the Sales Intel Engine that will give you all kinds of scary information about any kind of executive that you want to reach out to. But you can also use Sales Navigator and some other tools. But use the online tools to reach out to them offline. And that's going to be the best thing. You know, people say, oh, should I send them a book? It's like, I wouldn't send them a book as the first contact. I would send them something that's directly relevant and valuable to them, their industry, some trend, some topic, some issue that they talked about on their website, on their media page, in their press release, in their local business journal. You know, this is when I say active 20, the reason I say you have to have an active 20 prospect list. You can do deep dive research on 20 executives. You can't do it on 200, and you can't do it on 2,000, and you can't do it when you're spamming the universe. So think about a finite written workable list at any given time. You've got 20 executives or 20 decision makers that you're reaching out to, and those are that's your family, that's your focus, that's your tribe of people that you are looking to connect with and add value to and open relationships with. Anything else? Other questions, comments, thoughts, donations to the Bill Stanton Emmy Award Fund?
I think we have silence, which tells me we might have run out of questions for you, David.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everyone. Let me just go back into my final slide here and my parting words, and then I will throw it back to Aaron for a little wrap up here. So let me, got all kinds of crazy stuff flying around my screen here and the chat window. So here's what I want to leave you with. Here's all your smiling fitness. By the way, who learned the trick today on a Zoom call to take a screenshot of your client group and drop that into your presentation as you're being introduced? There you go. That's Zoom trick number 71 of a fun online presentation. So at this point, you just need a hug. You just need a big old hug. In this case, hug is an acronym for a hunger to play bigger, urgency to act bolder, and a game plan to get better. And I hope that I produced that for you today. It's been a genuine pleasure and an honor. Aaron, everyone on the team, thank you so much for having me. Everything that you need to be successful with what we talked about today is sitting in your chair right now. And you can make it happen, and I can't wait to see you do it. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
David, thank you. I appreciate all the great insight you provided, the experience you brought. I see the hands clapping. You know it'd be a roarious applause in person as well. I know David hasn't done it. He's been humble, but I'm sure he'd be open to email. If you wanted to contact him, he's easy to find. If you'd like to follow up with him with other questions, I can personally say that he is open to that. And I first met David in Denver about 1.5 years ago. No, just a little over 1 year ago now. And I just had a lot of great contact with him since then. So he was first on my list to want to bring in and help us all kind of see a bigger picture. And David, I think all would agree that we received that today. So everybody, thank you for our first meeting of the new fiscal year. It's been a blast, and we will reach out again and meet again soon. Thank you all. Have a wonderful afternoon.
Thank you, everybody.
Take care, all. Thank you, David.